Hello there, people. I am here for your Halloween series review. I understand it took a while. I tried uploading it on my phone, and that took forever. And then I just you know what? I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna do it the day before Halloween. I'm gonna do it the day before Halloween to get it out the way. So here it is. This video may be an hour. I don't know. And I will ahead of time tell you I'm not gonna do Halloween 3. Hold on. Try to see it off real quick. I'm not gonna do Halloween 3. That one I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna skip that one. But I will just pretty much when I get to 2, it's gonna be 2, hold on. It's gonna be 2, then 4. So alright, let's get this started. So we start out with Halloween number 1, the very first one, which was directed by John Carpenter, came out in 1978. A lot of people say this is like the original horror movie. It wasn't, because you did have Texas Chainsaw, but in my opinion, what really made slasher movies popular, I believe, was this movie. It started the slasher craze in the 80s, in my opinion. Um, Dude, definitely, it's rightfully so my favorite slasher movie. It, to me, was a perfect movie. You had the perfect atmosphere. The story was good. It was simple. A kid named Michael Myers at 6 years old murdered his baby sister, his older sister, in 1963 when he was 6 years old. And then he was put in Smith's Grove for 15 years, and then he escaped in 1978. He escaped in 1978 to hunt down his baby sister, Laurie Strode, played by probably one of my favorite horror actresses, Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know if this is one of her earlier movies. I don't know if this was her first movie, but definitely it's one of her earlier ones. And the thing about this movie was perfect. Unlike Friday the 13th, which is more, I think, more action driven, Halloween was more storyline driven. Because I'm going to be honest with you, the first movie, there wasn't a lot of kills. Like, he killed his baby sister, and in between a lot of it, you're just getting to know the atmosphere. You see Michael stalking Laurie throughout the day, and perfect music. I think the music was perfect. Not just the great original score, you also had some great other songs in there. And you had characters like Dr. Loomis, whose pretty much mission is to stop him. He wanted Michael Myers to be gone because he knows what Michael's capable of, you know? You also have Sheriff Brackett, who was the sheriff in the town. He was sketchy about what Loomis is telling him, that Michael escaped Smith's Grove. So, and throughout the night, Michael's just following Laurie. Like, he kills a family dog. Laurie's babysitting a kid named Tommy Doyle. Also had Lindsay Wallace, who one of her friends, Annie, was supposed to. She's the sheriff's daughter. She was supposed to originally babysit Lindsay Wallace, but she decides to have Laurie do it so she can, hang out with her boyfriend Paul, who, in this one, the remake, I'll tell you, is different, but in the original, Annie is killed. Annie gets killed in a car. And what this movie I really liked, there was no blood. They didn't really use a lot of blood in this movie, if any. I think the only scene I think I saw with blood is when he was standing outside his house. You saw a little bit of blood. But this movie wasn't a slash fest, and that's not what Friday the 13th Halloween was about. This came out 2 years before Friday the 13th, so. And then the climax, like, where Michael finds Laurie, he chases her throughout the Wallace house. The scene where you see him try to break in a closet. She stabs him in the eye with a hanger. I mean, when she falls, oh yeah, it's just the whole chase, him chasing her down, was a great scene throughout the movie. And then you do see him unmasked for a little bit, and then Loomis shoots Michael out of the window, and his body's missing. A lot of people say this is where there should have only been one movie. Yeah. And then But overall, I love this movie. Definitely one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Great music, great atmosphere. Definitely a 10 out of 10. I think definitely is the horror movie titan. I think if you consider yourself a horror movie fan, you have to have seen this movie, in my opinion. Next, we have Halloween 2, which in my opinion is just Halloween Part 2. Because this movie literally is the same night. It's not a year later or anything. It's the same night. So, you find out Michael survives his wounds. This one, they did add blood. Because this movie came out a year after Friday the 13th. This movie came out in 1981. This movie, pretty much the story is Michael continues his chase on Laurie. It's the same night. Loomis is still trying to look for Michael. And you also find out, Sheriff Brackett finds out his daughter got killed. So, um, the, it's a great movie. I overall think this is a great follow-up. Because in a sense, it wasn't even really a sequel. It's the same night. It's just like you can watch them back to back, Halloween 1 and 2. The mask even looks somewhat similar. It doesn't look that much different. The score is different. I'm not the biggest fan of the score. It sounds too like cartoony to me. It didn't feel evil. It just felt very cartoony. But great kills. They added blood. You had a lot of scalpel kills in this movie. Also in this movie, Laurie finds out that Michael's her brother in a flashback scene. There's also a scene you do see him in Smith's Grove as I guess a teenager. I'm guessing where you see Michael as a teenager. Great overall. So the climax is great. In my opinion, if they truly wanted to end the Halloween series with this movie, perfectly. Think about it. He was burned alive. Makes sense. That would have been a great climax. But I love this movie overall. It's a great extension of the first movie. It really, you can call it a standalone sequel, but in my opinion, it's just the same movie. It's just the extension. But definitely love it. Favorite kill in this movie would probably be, it is between two. It is between the one where he drenched that one girl's head in that freaking hot tub where her face was getting blistery. That was pretty brutal. Or the scene with the needle where he injects that chick. There was some. Well, actually, no. When he slashed that one dude's throat when he was getting up. It was a great movie overall. You learn about, and in this movie they actually refer to him as Michael. In the first movie, a lot of times they were calling him the Shape of the Boogeyman. They really never. I think in maybe one scene they do refer to him as Michael, but in this movie they started the Michael name. I will touch on Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I've not seen it, and I don't really plan on to because it has nothing to do with Halloween, the Michael Myers. To me, Halloween is the Michael Myers storyline. Yeah, they're trying to go somewhere different with the series, but it failed. It flopped. Because there's no Michael and no one. It just didn't work. Because a lot of people in their eyes were like, you had a good thing going. If you're gonna do another Halloween movie, just have to do another Michael movie. So, due to poor reviews and poor pretty much everything, they decided to bring back Michael in Halloween 4, which came out 10 years later in 1988. So in this movie, Laurie is killed in a car accident. I'll get to those air quotes later. Well, so Michael finds out that he has a niece named Jamie, played by Danielle Harris. This is the start of the Jamie Lloyd timeline. So Michael was in a coma for 10 years. So he survived being, even though I will agree, how did he survive? He was drenched in flames in number 2. Same thing with Loomis. Loomis should have died, but whatever. So they're both scarred. So Michael's been in a coma for 10 years. They were transporting him, I guess, to the actual prison. And they were talking about Jamie, and that's what woke up Michael. And he pretty much broke his way out and made his way back to Haddonfield. he stopped at a mechanic factory or whatever to get his mechanic suit, basically. That's what I call it. And then he makes his way back to Haddonfield. And there is one scene where Jamie's having a dream sequence where Michael's attacking her. It's a dream sequence. You also meet her stepsister. So Jamie has been hidden away from the whole storyline, so she doesn't know that Michael's her uncle and stuff. So she's in a foster family with her stepsister. Hold on, hold on. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. That's Rachel. Ellie Cornell as Rachel. And during the movie, um, there's one scene where Jamie's at this discount market store getting costume for Halloween, and Michael attacks her, and she breaks a glass, and Michael kind of disappears. You also meet Rachel's boyfriend. I guess you can call him boyfriend, but he gets mad because she's forced to babysit Jamie, so she takes her trick or treating and stuff. During this, Michael breaks in the house, kills her dog, and also finds out that Lori's dead. So he looks through like the pictures and stuff. Also, the town is notified because you meet the new sheriff Meeker, or Meeker, it's one of the two. He's the new sheriff since I guess Brackett retired. So sorry guys, I just had to check that. So there's probably one of my favorite not really my favorite. So Michael starts killing people. He electrocutes the town. So this one guy who works at the power plant where the power's coming from, and then he throws him into a thing and he gets shocked. Pretty much the whole town is in a blackout. So Michael kills all the police, which I would have actually liked to have seen him slaughter all the police. That would have been kind of cool. I really wish that could have been like a deleted scene where you actually see him kill the whole police station, because he took out the whole police station. So, Jamie and Rachel are trick-or-treating. Rachel's taking Jamie trick-or-treating. And during this, Rachel finds out her boyfriend was having an affair with one of the people who works at the store he works at. So, that happens. Rachel and Jamie get separated for a minute. Michael sees Rachel, so she runs, finds Jamie. They get picked up by Meeker and Loomis. They take him to Meeker's house to protect her, pretty much. And then Michael makes his way in, first by killing the security cop off camera who was watching the door. And then probably one of my favorite kills when he shoves a shotgun through Meeker's daughter's stomach, and she's planted to the wall. So Michael pretty much kills Rachel's boyfriend, chases Rachel and Jamie down. They get saved by a couple rednecks. They're during the town they're pretty much doing their own little lynch mob. And then Michael follows them. Michael kills all the rednecks in one scene. It was kind of cool too. There was a scene at the school, where for a split second Michael's mask had blonde hair and stuff, so he hides under the truck while it's being driven. They get picked up at the school. There you go. Then he proceeds to kill all the rednecks. Then Rachel's driving. She throws Michael off the truck, and then he runs him over, and he hits in like a graveyard sort of thing. And then the cops proceed to shoot him, and the whole town shoot him down through a mine shaft, I think. And then they drop dynamite to blow him up. So overall, love Halloween 4. Definitely was a nice way of bringing Michael back. The mask was I'm sorry, I'm just not the biggest fan of the mask. It didn't look super scary. But overall, I like this movie. He just looked too short. But overall, I still enjoyed this movie. Great music. Great cast. Danielle Harris did awesome as Jamie. She was... And the ending was probably one of my favorite endings. We have a scene where Jamie ends up attacking her foster mom with scissors. And she's in a clown costume like Michael, and then it ends with Loomis saying no. Probably great ending. So overall, definitely a 9 out of 10. I'd rate this movie 9 out of 10. Did I rate number 2? No, I didn't. Number 2, Halloween 2, is also a 9 out of 10. So the up to 4, a 9 out of 10. Then we get to Halloween 5. This movie, I don't hate it, but definitely has its flaws. This movie came out literally a year later. That's also what I think played a role. This movie was rushed. This movie literally came out 1 year after Halloween 4. Because I think, two reasons. I think this movie is trying to compete with another horror franchise, Friday the 13th. Because by this point in 1989, I think Part 8 came out of Friday the 13th. So, this movie came out in 1989, a year later. And I mean, the things I don't like about it, I'll list them at the end of the... So this movie, basically, Michael survives what happened. He tries to attack a hermit, but then he passes out. So Michael's in a coma for 1 year. And 1 year later, Michael wakes up. And then you also find out that Jamie is mute, which I don't like. I mean, if they're going to do the mute thing, they should have did the whole movie. When I guess I'll tell you now, in the middle of the movie, her voice comes back, which is stupid. If you're gonna go with this whole Jamie's mute story, she should have been mute the whole movie. And they should have explained why she went mute. And also, she has some telepathic link with Michael. Yeah, so when Michael wakes up, she starts acting out like how he's waking up. And then she writes on I guess she starts having a heart attack, a seizure, panic attack or something like that. But she's writing that he's coming for me. That Michael wakes up, kills the hermit, and then pretty much proceeds to chase Jamie down. There's new characters. Rachel makes a return up until 15 minutes later, which I hate. I hate that they killed her off. Why couldn't they have killed her friend off, Tina? I don't like Tina. Tina is definitely one of those characters I hate in a horror movie. She's so... I mean, I'll get into detail later, so... Overall, there's some great kills. There's one scene where Michael ends up killing... The one thing I did like, I liked that they had some of the original Michael waves. Michael's a stalker. He stalks his victims before he kills them. So I like how he's watching Rachel and stuff, following her and stuff, stalking her like the old school Michael did. I like that. But the way they killed her off was he killed her with scissors, and it was 15, 20 minutes in, he killed her. She was one of the best characters. I liked her in number 4. I would have at least liked her. I'm not saying you couldn't kill her. At least, if you're gonna kill her, you could have done it, in at least halfway through the movie. Or in the end. It was just kind of lame. 20 minutes in, you just kill her off. And then we're left with fucking Tina. You meet her boyfriend, Mikey, and her other 2 friends, who are a couple. Mikey gets killed. He's some greaser wannabe. In the weirdest scene, Michael scratches his car, he gets out, and Michael grabs him, and then kills him with a gardening tool to the face. And then, okay, this is where it got weird. So, Tina's gonna go see Jamie real quick. I think by this point, Jamie got her voice back. Actually, no, not yet, but definitely, throughout the movie, there is this stuttering kid that I guess has a little crush on Jamie, I guess. And then, okay, this is where I got weird. Michael posed as Mikey. He put this weird clown, big nose mask on, and drove her around like he was her boy. I guess he was doing it so she can take him to Jamie, I guess, but it just was weird. So they drop at a gas station, and then the cops pick her up. And then these 2 bumbling cops, when they showed up, some weird clown music played. Like, why? But during this, Tina wants to go to a party, but Jamie, I think by this point, gets her voice back. Like I said, if they're gonna go with that, I would have at least A, explained why, and two, at least do it during the whole movie. Don't cop out and have her voice come back magically. Didn't even explain how her voice came back. It just kind of came back. So Tina just leaves Jamie, even though Jamie wants her to stay so she can be protected, because she knows Michael's gonna try to get her. She doesn't even care, and then she just calls Loomis weird, and then she's just an obnoxious fucking character. So she leaves. She goes to the party, which is at a farmhouse, and they fuck with the cops by having one of their friends dress up as Michael Myers and stuff. And the blonde couple go have sex in the farm, where Michael proceeds to kill the boyfriend by stabbing him in the back with a pitchfork. Then he kills the girl with a scythe, which is actually probably one of my favorite kills in this movie. Then Tina finds the bodies. Jamie finds them. Jamie, along with the stuttering kid, find Tina. And Michael chases him in a car, which actually that was kind of cool. I did like the chase scene, and he finally killed Tina. I guess she kind of sacrificed herself to protect Jamie, I guess. So then Loomis take Jamie along with a couple other cops to Michael's house. This is where I wouldn't say the final confrontation happens, but sort of, I guess. Michael proceeds to go in the house, which I will admit, this movie did not have that Halloween atmosphere. I don't know, it just did not feel like a Halloween movie. Like, it didn't have that same atmosphere. Hell, 4 had. I thought 4 still had the same kind of element of Halloween. This movie, it just didn't feel like it. The house looked all, it looked all abandoned and, jungly with all, the grass everywhere. It was not necessary. It didn't look like his house. Like, his house just looked, you could tell it looked eerie, already. Then, so, Michael makes his way back inside, chases Jamie. They do have a shoot scene in the shoot where she finds Michael's room with, a little coffin, I guess, where that's Jamie's body is supposed to be. She hides there. Michael comes, and she says uncle, and there's a scene of a little bit of Michael's humanity. And then I guess she tries to touch him, and then he gets angry. Yeah, I didn't really touch on that. Loomis was kind of an asshole in this movie. Tell me, why are you protecting him? He was acting all hard on her. Hell, he was using her as a human, not really a human. She was like, oh, you want her, Michael? She was doing that. I'm like, why? Loomis is kind of a dick move. I'm like, why? But at this time, I will admit it is at least makes sense. Wait till I get to the very last one. But then yeah, Loomis traps him in a net, which was kind of stupid. That was kind of pathetic. And then he beats him, and then the cops arrest him. And then throughout the movie, oh yeah, this guy in a black kind of outfit comes out, or the Man in Black, which was named. He breaks Michael out. In the end of the movie, Jamie finds the destroyed police station, and she sees Michael's in Michael's cell, and you see it broken out and escaped. And then she says no, and the music plays. Okay. I guess favorite kill is where he killed that chick with the scythe. I think it's probably my favorite kill in this movie. The thing is with this movie, it's not terrible. It has a lot of flaws. Annoying characters. Tina is one of the most obnoxious characters I think I've ever seen. She doesn't even save for Jamie just because she knows Jamie is fucked up, and you're filling his head, her head with all that booking. She experienced it. What the fuck? Tina was an annoying character. I hated the mask. This mask was probably one of the ugliest masks in the Halloween franchise. I have to say it. This mask was just ugly. It just looked like this kid has just been sitting on it for 2 days, and it's all his hair's all slicked back. But this movie isn't shit completely. I don't hate it that much. It was, and it just felt very corny. It didn't have that atmosphere like the original Halloween did. Hell, even 4 had that like environment. I didn't feel like in this one. This one just felt weird. Like two bumbling cops with the clown music was very distracting. But if I had to rate this movie, it'd be like, I'm gonna be nice, like a 5.5 or a 6, around there. Like, I don't hate it. Next, we have Halloween 6, which came out actually several years later. It came out in 1995. Well, this time Danielle Harris is not playing Jamie because apparently Danielle Harris, who's I think when this movie it came out in 1995. I think she was like a teenager at this point. I heard she wanted more money, I think, to do it again, and I guess the studio didn't want to. So they got someone else to replace her, and I think that was sad. I think this movie would have been a little bit better if actually Danielle Harris played in it. But the story is, they try to give you a reason why Michael is the way he is. I didn't personally care. It's just, I didn't like the whole cult storyline, but I guess let me start off. You find out that Jamie has a baby, which is Michael's. Oh, what? And that too. What? Who thought about that? Michael impregnating Jamie. Incest like a motherfucker. What the It's one thing if they got Michael's sperm and they put it in. That's one thing. But he flat out had sex with her. Yeah, you see the baby being born. And then Jamie escapes. Some nurse tries to help her out. I was actually just got done watching Halloween 6, um, so yeah, Jamie escapes. During this, Michael kills one of the nurses by pushing her head in a wall, and then Michael chases Jamie down. She steals some guy's car, or the guy who got his car stolen gets killed by Michael, and then she escapes. And throughout the movie, the movie starts out, you meet Tommy Doyle, played by the kid from the very first Halloween movie, played by Paul Rudd. I think this was his very first movie. His very first movie. I think the same year he was in that movie Clueless. So I think same year he was in this movie. So this was his very first movie. He calls in like a radio DJ who's talking about the Myers murders. The town's trying to move on from Michael Myers. So there you go. And then Jamie calls in at the radio station to let like Loomis know. You find out he's Loomis. This is Donald Pleasant's last performance as Dr. Loomis. Because I think the same year, I think around the time I heard he was filming this movie, he died sadly. So along with Dr. Wynn, you see them talking. But then Jamie sends a message that Michael's after her and all that. So, and then you also meet Kara, who has a son named Danny. She lives in the Myers house. Apparently the family that adopted Lori lives in the Myers house. Go figure. And the dad's a total douche. He pretty much bullies Kara. Pretty much I think they're her parents, but she just didn't come anymore, and I guess, yeah. So they leave. Michael kills Jamie by pushing her in a corn thing. I do like when it looked like Michael's gonna, he see a little bit of humanity, then he faked it, and then he pushed her in this corn shredder machine in a farm. But then she says he can't have the baby, so she hid the baby at was it a doctor in a hospital? I don't remember what it was, but it was in a building where Tommy finds it. He finds the baby, names it Steven. Also, throughout the movie, you do see him look at Kara a lot. And also, you find out that Kara's son Danny's having nightmares that the Man in Black wants him to, throughout this, and then you find out the reasoning later. when Tommy finds. Oh, before that, Michael kills Kara's mom with a hatchet because Loomis first warned her that Michael's gonna come back to the house, so she's trying to move everyone out, and then Michael kills her. Then Kara comes home. Nobody's home, and you find out that Tommy not really took Steven, but Steven there in the house, and then they go to his house, where he tells them pretty much the story of Michael, that apparently Michael, there's some cult thing, it's a curse, that this is the best I can explain it, that this curse wants him to kill his family because it saves billions, I guess, from getting killed, so. And then Michael's gonna kill Steven, he was supposed to be the final sacrifice, and then it's supposed to be passed on to Danny. So it's supposed to be like that. And then you also find out, oh, and that one lady saying that she was there the night Michael murdered Judith. That's such bullshit. If you watch the first movie, which I did a couple days ago, you could clearly see there was no babysitter besides Judith. I think Judith was the babysitter. There was no, like, other lady there. You could see, it was like, he went all around the house. So that was such bullshit. I don't know, why did they put that in there? So, Michael kills the DJ. Then he goes to the house. He kills the dad by blowing his head off. I actually will say it's probably my favorite kill in this movie. There was some great. I think this movie, like I said, it could have been so much better, but I'll get to that later. So, I guess Kara's brother and his girlfriend were having sex in the house. He gets out of the shower. Michael kills him, and then he proceeds to kill his girlfriend. At the same time, you see Kara watching it from across the street, and you actually see Danny go back into the house where Myers is, and this is where he kills the DJ, or where Tommy finds the body of the DJ at a tree, and then Tommy makes his way back to the house. There's a chase scene between Michael and Kara. You get in the house, and this is where they're kidnapped by Wynn, who's find out to be the one who started he's part of the whole cult. And then they go to, I guess this Smith's Grove is the setting. Probably one of my favorite scenes, though, where Michael, even though you could barely see it, he kills all the doctors with a fucking machete like a boss. That was badass. I like seeing Michael pissed off and just going around fucking shit up. Then okay, I'm gonna say the climax is probably one of the weirdest. Like, Michael gets knocked out and you just see his mask and I guess he proceeds to get beat down. It was a weird ending, for one. So, if I had to rate this movie, okay, I'll say this. I didn't personally like the whole cult storyline. It was stupid. Wasn't needed, and I heard the producer's cut was a lot better. I heard, the producer's cut. I heard they actually elaborate more and explain it better. It was very confusing, a lot of plot holes. It was just weird. And then that girl saying she was there the night Michael killed his sister was such bullshit. If you watch the first movie, that did not happen. So, but if I had to rate this movie, it would be a 5. This movie, I just didn't like the whole. It wasn't terrible, but it was just I didn't like the way it went. So that's why now we have Halloween 7 or H2O. They pretty much erased 4, 5, and 6. This movie, pretty much since 1978, Michael has not been seen. So literally, this movie. So for 20 years, Michael's missing. This movie came out in 1998. They revisited the Laurie's timeline, where you find out that Laurie faked her death. She changed her name to Carrie Tate. She works as a head something, at this school named Hillcrest Academy, along with her son, John, played by, I don't know what his name was, but it was Josh Hartnett, there you go. It was a really good movie. I think the movie starts out Michael killing one of Loomis's old nurses. in her house so he can get files on Laurie. And I will say this movie is very not as gory. It's not a lot of gore because this movie came out after 2 years after Scream. This movie pretty much they wanted to do like it was like you can say like one of those '90s horror slasher movies, but with Michael Myers in it. But definitely. So through and also you could see that Laurie's still tormented somewhat by her brother. Like she's still having nightmares and like and throughout the movie, and you don't really see Michael a lot in this movie. You see him in an illusion sequence where Laurie, I guess, finds her son. I guess he was ditching school. I guess ditching class. So there you see Mike. She was looking out a window, and then Michael shows up, and then she turns on. He's gone. So, and then there's this big trip to I forgot where it was, like Yosemite or something. And but but John and his friend stay home while Laurie and her new boyfriend, where Laurie tells him about her past. So he tells him the story of Michael attacking her and all of that shit. So Michael gets into school. The guy who works as security is LL Cool J. This is the one instance where rapper being in a horror movie or in a slasher movie actually isn't that bad. So Michael stalks around the school, chases them down. He kills two of John's friends. They chase him down, and then Laurie saves them, takes them in a room where you see through the door Michael and Laurie staring at each other, which is actually kind of cool. It was a cool moment. Laurie's boyfriend accidentally shoots LL Cool J because he thought he was Michael. Michael kills him. Laurie and Michael battle. She knocks him off a platform and he falls on a desk. On a table. And they take his. And this is where the cops come and the paramedics come and all that. They take Michael's body. Laurie steals the van because she wants to make sure Michael's dead. So she drives him out a window, impales him on a tree, and Laurie proceeds to, before they have like one little moment of grabbing each other's hands, she beheads Michael. Or beheads Michael. Let me get to the next movie. This movie was originally supposed to be the ending of Halloween. Next we're gonna have Resurrection. Here's my thing about this movie. I like it and I don't like it. I hate that they erased 4, 5, and 6. Because Laurie's daughter, Jamie, they never talk about it. I heard in like original script there was gonna be a scene where they do bring up Jamie's death. But I would have liked that better. I don't like when movies just erase it. Even though 5 and 6 weren't that great, you still can't just completely erase it. And then another thing, this movie felt too much like Scream. It didn't have a Halloween atmosphere to it. It just wasn't, it didn't feel like a Halloween movie. It felt I felt like I was watching Scream. Hell, there's even a scene in the movie where one of John's friends, I think in their dorm, you see them watching Scream 2. Like, I don't know why they put that in there. So technically, in this universe, Scream's a movie. I didn't really particularly like that. At first, I thought it was okay, but this movie just felt too much like I was watching Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer. It didn't. There wasn't a lot of great kills. It was basic throat slittings in this movie, or stabbings. Nothing new. I do like the climax. This should have ended the Halloween series. 20 years later, Laurie kills him. There you go. That would have been, she conquered her nightmare or her troubled past. That totally makes sense. Them doing that. So, next, we have Halloween Resurrection. Okay, I don't hate this as most people do. I don't think this is the worst Halloween movie. Was it stupid? Yeah, I can agree on that. Was it an unnecessary sequel? Yeah, I will agree. This did not need to happen. So, this movie comes out 3 years later. It comes out in 2002. The plot is, the first 15 minutes is Michael, I do like the opening. You find out that Lori is in some mental institution because the guy she killed was not Michael Myers. It was a paramedic who found Michael's body. First of all, why would one paramedic take Michael Myers, who probably weighs a hell of a lot? You probably need at least 4 or 5 paramedics to carry Michael. So he gets up, chokes out the paramedic, but doesn't kill him. He crushes the larynx so he can't talk. So he tries to, so it wasn't, so she was put in a mental institution. She was acting, or, like, you know how Michael just stopped talking? She started doing that, but she was only acting because she knows Michael comes back for her, and he does. Michael proceeds to kill 2 security guards. The one kill was pretty cool. I like how he lowered himself down like a fucking ninja and then slit his throat. That was kind of cool. So he chases Lori down. She goes in her room, which he just walks in like a boss. Which you find out that Lori knew he was coming, so she runs away. They go to the roof. Michael goes for her, but then he finds this rope trap, which was kind of lame. It was kind of a lame trap, so he's just hanging over the balcony, and I guess they have a little bit of dialogue. Lori says she's not, like, afraid of Michael no more. But then Michael starts acting like, oh, she wants to make sure, because Michael starts trying to, like he's trying to pull off the mask. She doesn't want to look like she's going to kill the wrong guy. But here's the thing. He was trying to kill her. He breaks in her room. He tries to stab her. That's pretty sure that's fucking Michael. And then the rope gets cut. They fall over. They flip over. Michael stabs Lori. She kisses him, and then she falls to her death. So after 20-some years of trying to kill Laurie Strode, he does it in a shitty way. I'm not a fan of how they did it. 15 minutes in. Maybe she asked for it, but still, it was kind of lame. It was very anticlimactic. 20-some years of trying to kill his sister, and the way it was done was so lame. So he goes back up, gives one of the patients, I guess his name was Harold, who knows a lot about serial killers, gave him his knife. Then he walks out. So this could have been the end of the movie right here. You also meet, you meet this one character, I forgot what her name was, but I don't really care about the characters in this movie. But she's her and a couple of her friends. She has some online boyfriend named Decker, but you find out he's just some kid in high school. They work at this thing, can be on a show called Dangertainment, which is hosted by Busta Rhymes. Definitely one of the stupider, and you also have Tyra Banks there. So they're gonna be staying over at night at Michael Myers' house on Halloween. So this is, I guess, 1 year after he killed Lori. So in the movie it said 2001. So it looks like the next year is 2002 when this is happening. So they go to Michael's house. But before that, Michael kills one of the guys who was working for Dangertainment, like setting up the cameras by shoving a tripod in his neck. Definitely a great kill. I like, though, they ramp up the kills in this movie because they know there weren't that much great kills in H2O. At least, like I said, there's a couple things I like about this movie. So they go to the house. Pretty much they find weird stuff. One of them finds out that one of the things was just fake. But before that, one of the guy from American Pie gets killed by Michael when he breaks through a window and stabs a dude in the head. So he's the first one killed. So the greaser guy, I call him, finds out that they find this thing of bodies, but he find out it's all like rubber. And then the girl runs off, and Michael kills her too by pushing her into a piece of gate. That was a cool kill. I do like that they mix a little bit of the video, the found footage, because this at the time was not super popular. It was I think the only movie that did the whole found footage was still, what's that movie? Never mind. But the Blair Witch Project. There you go. So they meet the others. They find out that Busta Rhymes. Oh, there's this one scene. This is me out. Busta Rhymes is dressed up as Michael Myers, and Michael comes behind him. He thinks it's one of the guy that just got killed with a tripod, dressing up as Michael. Michael walks away when he tells him to go away. That was stupid. I was like, why? Then Michael attacks one of them, but you find out it's Busta Rhymes, and he finds out that all the stuff that's there was all props. They're trying to make it look scary. They're trying to make it look like, oh, something's happening in this house. So they act like they're gonna leave, and then the blonde girl gets killed. She comes out of the room. Michael beheads her with his knife. I still ask, how is that humanly possible with a butcher knife? But whatever. So he beheads her. Then he proceeds to kill the greaser dude by squeezing his head, pretty much crushing his head. Then he kills kills Taye Diggs, which is sick. They got some big names in this movie. They got Taye Diggs. He was a big actor at the time. He gets killed by 3 knives. Michael stabs him, puts him on a wall with 2 knives in his chest, and then Michael plants one final one in the chest. So it's just, at this point, it's Busta and the main chick. But Deckard, throughout the movie, you see Deckard. They're at this Halloween party. Him and his friend were doing Pulp Fiction. He finds this room with a computer where they watch Dangertainment, the episode. They think the murders at first were just, it's all an act, that it's like, fake. But then they find out it's real, and pretty much Deckard tries to help her throughout the movie, like tell him where Michael is. And then, Busta Rhymes doing kung fu to fight Michael. So stupid. So they kick Michael out of a window with, I think is one of those Halloween lights choking on his neck. Michael gets out. This is where the climax happens. They're in the garage or whatever, where the main control room is. Busta fights Michael, and Michael gets stuck, and then they blow it up, and his house is blown up, and then they take Michael to the morgue, where he wakes up, where his eyes open, and the movie ends. Okay, Halloween Resurrection. The thing is, I didn't hate it flat out. I can sit down and watch this movie. It is pretty dumb. It is, at the end of the day, an unnecessary sequel. This movie could have just ended. It could have ended at H2O. Resurrection was not needed. But there are things I do like about this movie. I do like the mask. I actually think the mask looks really good in this movie. Probably one of the better masks we've gotten in a while. There are some great kills. They brought back Brutal Michael. Probably my favorite kill is the way he killed the guy with the tripod. That shit was brutal. I think the creative kills, it wasn't just stabbings like in the other movie. But overall, you didn't care about any of the characters. You couldn't really get emotionally invested since Laurie got killed in the first 15 minutes. No, and the other characters are just victims. Because in a sense, think about it. They broke in his house, so he has every right to kill them. I hated Busta Rhymes. The thing with LL Cool J is an actor. And at the time when Resurrection came out, I think Deep Blue Sea came out, and he's already done movies by this point. But, so LL Cool J is an actor, but Busta Rhymes, he wasn't even acting, he was playing Busta Rhymes. And the whole dumb kung fu shit, and Tyra Banks, it was... So overall, I'd rate this movie a 5. I don't hate it, flat out, and I do like the theme song of this movie. But besides that, I could sit down and watch it. It's not one of the worst in the series. Next, we have the remake. This is where they started the remake of Halloween. Came out in 2007, directed by Rob Zombie. I like this movie. A lot of people hate this movie. I think a lot of people really just bash it because it's a remake. And I don't think to me, it's a good remake. One of the better remakes I've seen. So, this movie literally is the same plot, but except they decided Rob Zombie wanted to do something different. He didn't want to make it a carbon copy of the first movie. So he added this backstory. You find out Michael pretty much is just a bullied kid who has a terrible home life. A lot of people don't like it, don't like the backstory. I personally do. The reason I like it, one, it wasn't that long. It was only 30, 40 minutes of backstory. It wasn't that long. And I think the kid that played Michael did decently. I think he did I personally think he did. You could tell that kid was evil, and but so pretty much you meet his mother, played by Sherry Moon Zombie, who's married to this fat red redneck asshole named Ronnie, and his sister Judith, who's pretty much just a slut. And then Lori, but at the time her name was Angel. So Michael goes to school. He's bullied by the kid from Spy Kids. Um, Michael kills the bully in one scene. This is where Loomis introduces Dave comes in, played by Malcolm McDowell, who I think did an awesome job in this movie. Michael beats the bully to death with a stick. Michael goes home. Pretty much he gets ready to prepare for Halloween. His mom goes out. Guess go because his mom's a stripper. Um, um, Judith's boyfriend comes home. So Michael pretty much has to go trick-or-treating by himself. So he comes back, pays with his candy, and then something in his head just comes. He gets ready. He gets his knife, tapes Ronnie to the chair. He's passed out, and Michael slits his throat. Then Judith's boyfriend makes a sandwich. During this, Michael gets a bat, beats him with a bat, and then he proceeds to. Oh, during this, Judith's boyfriend brought the classic Myers mask. Michael finds it, picks it up, puts it on. He proceeds to kill Judith. And then he picks up the baby, and then he goes outside, and then his mom comes home. And that's where you see the scenes of like them finding the crime scene. And then you see Michael in the car. He stares, and then and I like that they actually show him in Smith's Grove. I actually fucking love that. So yeah, he's in Smith's Grove. During this, you see him throughout. You see his tenure there, and you actually see his progression from being this happy, normal kid, and then you see him slowly, he stops talking. He starts wearing these masks. Oh, Danny Trejo, I guess, kind of befriends him. And his mom visits Perry periodically, and then the final time she visits, him and Loomis takes her back to her car. Before they get to the elevator, Michael kills one of the nurses that was watching him with a fork. And then during this, pretty much Michael's mom just, I guess, realizes her son has become a monster. He's not the innocent kid anymore. So she shoots herself. And then 15 years later, this is where you see Luke. The thing is, in this movie, it's not like the original. In the original, Michael killed his sister in 1963. In this movie, from what it looks like it's from the 70s. In that the movie is in, and then where Michael is an adult is in modern times. But Michael has long hair, now played by Tyler Mane. I think did an awesome job in this movie. Loomis tells him that he can't, care to be his doctor anymore. So I'm gonna do the theatrical version. In the unrated version, two of the guys who work there take this girl, and they take her to Michael's room, and they rape her, and it was just unnecessary. Why did you have to put that there? It wasn't necessary. In the theatrical version, they take him to these cops are about to transport him, and he pretty much breaks out, and he rips one of the throats out. He kills them all. See, that was badass. The rape scene was just unnecessary. He lets out all the other patients pretty much. He kills Danny Trejo by smashing him with a TV. And then he goes to this truck stop, and you see the dad from Kenan and Kel. He's this trucker. He's on the toilet. Michael pretty much comes in, kills him with the dude's own knife, and then he gets the suit and he walks out. And then this is where you meet Laurie Strode, played by, I think her name's like Scout. She takes a letter to the Myers. At the time during this, Michael comes back and he actually goes to the house, I guess he hid it under a bunch of wooden under the floor, and then he gets the knife and the mask he wore, which is now all like dirty and. Which I actually do like the mask in this movie. I like how it's all grimy and it looks actually very modern. And during this movie, it is different. You meet Laurie's friend Annie, played by, ironically, Danielle Harris, who Danielle Harris is friends with, because Danielle Harris was in Halloween 4 and 5, and she's friends with Laurie, who's her mom, in the other timeline, so it's weird. And her other friend. And the thing was, in this movie, you can tell it was modern times, there were cell phones, and Laurie's friend, one of Laurie's friends was wearing a Slayer shirt. Slayer's not a 70s band. So they did the timeline differently in this movie. They really never explained what year it was, but you could tell it was modern times because someone had a cell phone. During this, Loomis is notified that Michael escaped. So he comes to Haddonfield, picks up a gun. You find out that Michael took Judith's gravestone. So also, one of Laurie's friends, the cheerleader, took her boyfriend to the Myers house where they proceed to have sex. This is supposed to be the scene from the first movie where the girl takes her boyfriend, they have sex, and then Michael kills him by stabbing him on the wall, and Michael stares at him. They did that in this movie, and then he puts the ghost costume on, like with the glasses, gives her the beer, and except the difference was in that movie, he strangles her with a telephone cord. In this movie, they did it with his bare hands. And then Annie babysitting Lindsay Wall. So pretty much at this point, the movie is pretty much like the classic first movie. They did some different stuff, but Annie takes Lindsay to Tommy's house so she can babysit both of them, and they can. In this movie, it is different. Annie doesn't die in this movie. And like in the original, she died, but in this one, she didn't. So, her and her boyfriend have sex. Oh, during this, Loomis meets with the Sheriff Brackett, played by Brad Dourif, who's the voice of Chucky. He's the sheriff and doesn't really believe Michael escaped. But then, during this, Michael kills Laurie's foster parents. That's what I'm gonna call them. Kills the foster parents, and they don't answer. So Loomis and Brackett just search for Laurie. So Annie and her boyfriend had sex. Michael kills her boyfriend. I guess kind of puts Annie in hostage, knocks her out. Then Laurie drops off Lindsay at her house. She finds the bodies. Calls the police. Michael attacks her. She makes her way back to the I do like that they play the classic music from the first movie. I actually do enjoy that aspect about this movie. They played the classic score from the original movie. So she runs to the Doyle's house. They hide in the bathroom. These two cops were there, but then they get murdered by Michael. Michael breaks in, kidnaps Laurie, takes him back to, I guess, his house, I'm guessing. And there's this room where you see her friend dead, and then you see Judith's tombstone. And Michael shows her a picture of them as kids. I guess she doesn't realize that they're brother and sister. She acts loving, and then she, I think, like, stabs him in the shoulder, I think. And then Michael chases her. Then Loomis, and they're in the pool, and then Loomis shoots him 6 times. They did some differences. There are some differences between this and the original. Loomis, and then the scene, that iconic scene where Laurie asks, was that the boogeyman? And then he says, yeah, I believe it was. They did differently. In the original movie, that was the climax. Loomis shoots Michael out of a window. In this movie, it's done the same way, but I guess I'll get to that. Michael gets up. Michael should have killed Loomis at this one scene where Michael was squeezing Loomis's head. That should have killed him. The strength of Michael and Michael Myers alone should have killed Loomis. I don't know how he survived that, but so he kills her. So he chases Laurie. Laurie has the gun. She shoots Michael. They both fall out of the window. where she shoots him in the face. So the climax is a little different. And then they show this little film of them as kids. But I enjoyed this movie. I thoroughly think people only bash it because it's a remake. Yeah, some people don't like the backstory. They think, well, Michael doesn't need a reason to kill. I actually like that Rob Zombie did his own thing with it. I actually like that he made it his own. He was more of a reimagining. He did it in his own way. It wasn't just a carbon copy of the first one. It was actually they did something different. I think Tyler Mane as Michael Myers was awesome. He did the role perfectly. He made Michael super intimidating. He was like fucking this big ass dude. And then Malcolm McDowell did awesome. I'm not saying he's no Donald Pleasance, but definitely he did the role of Loomis awesomely. I think he was a good modern Dr. Loomis. And I did like Laurie. The girl who played Laurie did decently. I think she was a good modern Laurie Strode. They did her a little bit differently. They wanted to make her more modern. They're not going to make like in the original movie. Laurie was a very conservative girl. She didn't really have a lot of sex and all that. In this movie, they do make her a little bit more looser. Like one scene, you see her put her finger through a bagel, parodying sex. Yeah, the original Laurie wouldn't do that, but I think this girl did decently. I think everyone overall did decently in this movie. Great kills. I gotta say some great kills in this movie. I love the theme song. So overall, I really like this movie. So I'm gonna rate this movie an 8. Favorite kill would probably be when she slaughtered all those cops who were transporting him. That shit was badass. Next, this movie. I'm not even really gonna review it. This movie, Halloween 2 or H2. This wasn't even a remake of Halloween 2. This movie, they did something. This movie was, I'm gonna say it was dog shit. I hate this movie. This, to me, is the worst Halloween movie. I think this movie is just utter trash. Like, okay, I'm not even really gonna do a full review. So the synopsis is, this movie, one, wasn't like the original Halloween 2, wasn't the same night. 2, it wasn't even taking place in the hospital. It was only in the hospital for that beginning scene. Like, if you want to watch it, watch for like the first 15 minutes when he's chasing her through the hospital. That actually was kind of cool. But then the rest of the movie is just trash. I guess I'll start. Where do I start? They ruined the 3 main characters in this movie. They ruined Michael. They ruined Loomis. They definitely fucked up Loomis, and they fucked up Laurie. I'll start off with Laurie. Laurie was supposed to be, in this movie, I don't give 2 fucks about her. She's supposed to be the main character, but she's such a cunt. Like, she gets super drunk. She's always a bitch to Annie, who took her in, even though she didn't have to. It was like, what the fuck, man? And then and then the ending. I can't. This movie, it's so much wrong with it. I can't even really get started. There's that. Michael, in the first movie, they established Michael doesn't like people seeing his face, so he wears a mask. In this movie, every other fucking scene, he has his mask off. Every other fucking scene, and then he may be really tall, but in this movie, he's not intimidating at all. He just looks like a giant Rob Zombie or a giant hobo with the big, freakishly big beard. He just did not look scary at all. And then a lot of people say the reason they don't like Rob Zombie's Halloween, it's a lot of cursing and everyone's over the top. Yeah, in the first one, it was noticeable, but it wasn't that big a deal. In this movie, they have people talking about fucking dead bodies and all this other shit. It's like, what the fuck? And then Loomis, in my opinion, they fucked him up the most. Loomis is supposed to be this guy whose pretty much his goal is to stop Michael. That's his obsession. In this movie, all he cared about was his book sales. He was always a douche to everybody. Like, what the fuck? He's supposed to be the main character, and it's not Malcolm McDowell's fault. I think he's like, you know what, I'm gonna make this character so over the top. And it wasn't his fault. It was the writing. This movie didn't feel like a movie. It just felt like a bunch of scenes. I always feel like in a movie, the movie should always, I feel it should be connected. Like, it should be like a smooth ride. In this movie, it's just like a bunch of random scenes put together. Didn't feel like it was paced well. The only 2 characters maybe I thought were okay was Annie and Chief Brackett. You feel bad for him when you see him, his daughter. You find his daughter dead. Like, you can see it. And then I think Annie did fine. And it sucks that, cause, like, Laurie was such a bitch to her the whole movie. It was so stupid. And no fucking theme song. They didn't play the Halloween song at all in this movie until the fucking credits. This movie, and then, oh, definitely one of the dumbest things. I don't know, it was just a way, I guess, to get his wife in this movie. Fucking, the whole ghost bullshit. What the fuck? First of all, Michael doesn't kill for family. I mean, doesn't kill for his mother. That's Jason. And the funny thing is, the two worst of the series ripped off each other. I say Friday the 3rd, Jason Goes to Hell ripped off Halloween when he's trying to kill his family. When Jason's trying to kill his family. In this movie, I felt like it was ripping off Friday the 13th. Killing for his mom. It's the whole, I mean, the fucking ghost horse was stupid. This whole movie, I felt like I was high on acid to watch this movie. And then the climax was stupid. It was just dumb. And then Laurie becomes Mike. Like, what the fuck? This movie was terrible, people. I'm not even giving this movie a rating, like a negative 10 stars. It was that shitty. I hate this movie. Like, dude, to me, this is the worst Halloween movie. But overall, I love the Halloween series. There was a few, and especially the one I just got done reviewing. There are some that I don't like, but overall, I love the series. Michael Myers, my favorite horror character, because he's the epitome. Like, I asked people, like, who are you more scared of, Michael or Jason? A lot of people said Michael because, think about it, Michael kills pretty much for no reason. I don't care what that whole curse thing. He kills mainly for no reason. He doesn't care who you are. His mask is even more intimidating. Like, it's a blank, expressionless face. That's all that mask is. And it doesn't even look like he has eyes. It's just dark. Like, I think, to me, Michael is the epitome of evil. So, overall, I love the series. So, yeah, guys, I'm here to end my final horror marathon, review-a-thon with Halloween. But, guys, I'm going to start trying to do more movie series reviews. Like, I might do the Dark Knight series and all of them from all my favorite movies. I might start doing that more often. But until, I probably will do Wrestle Talk this Sunday. And until then, guys, until I decide to do a video between now and then. Until later, see you guys later, guys. Peace.